Good afternoon, I'm Amy Pilgrim, and here are the hottest pop news stories buzzing online right now. The 2016 Grammys are gearing up to be the biggest ever, with organizers revealing that Kendrick Lamar, who is nominated for an incredible 11. To know about the upcoming Baywatch reboot, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is throwing you a life preserver. The rock star revealing on Instagram's release. Well, just 1 week after earning her 4th Oscar nomination, 25-year-old Jennifer Lawrence has her eyes on the next acting time in 2017. Well, some kids go to football games and dream of being a star quarterback, not little Maximus, who was more interested in being a star halftime performer. After his first few games, he memorized some of the color guard routine and put on. And finally, here's an adorable polar bear cub to get you through hump day. This gorgeous little girl was born in November at the Columbus Zoo. Be sure to tune in to GMA for more pop news tomorrow. For ABC News, I'm Eva Pilgrim in New York. Have a great day.
Views. So investigators turn to friends and family to get more information. And some aren't buying Harold's story.
How can you keep being around him and not just explode?
I thought that I was...
Our lives. Are you sure you want to do this? You're going to make no money. You're going to work long hours. My mom remembers me making no money. Thank you, Mom, for paying those bills. But I also have a lot of really funny memories and things that I've taken with me. Doug Fisher's class was maybe one of my least favorite. It was also one of the hardest ones for me, but I still remind people that it is the inaugural, not the first annual. We also don't know what police believe. We know what they think or what they said, so please don't write believe. I've changed people's lives with that. I also had Collins. I remember the anxiety of being in his class. I was the secretary in one of your classes, and I remember I was in Rick Peterson's office about halfway through. No, I was in Dr. Tanner's office about halfway through the semester with you, and you saw me standing there. And we all know how you feel about broadcast journalism students. And you turned and you went, "You're broadcasting? What are you doing with yourself? Such a waste." And I remember being like, well, there has to be smart broadcasters too. And you just shook your head, and then you assigned me like a whole topic the next day in class as punishment. I do remember that. Randy Covington, I took an ethics class with him that changed the way that I thought about things. The impact that you have on people and the consequences. Dr. Augie Grant, does he still work here? Okay. I haven't heard from him forever. But I remember the debates were here at the University of South Carolina. And I was telling him that I wanted to go over there and meet the people, but I was afraid because I was a little bit of a chicken in general. And he goes, "Just go over there." Turns out the field producer for NBC that I met, I ended up keeping in touch with. She flew in, helicoptered in, for this huge mine accident that happened in West Virginia in my first job, the Sago mine. And she lit my live shot for me. And I used those live shots to get that job in Charlotte. I was a one-man band. I would have looked atrocious, I'm sure, because I was shooting and putting myself live on television, which never works out really well. So if it wouldn't have been for that random connection that I made, because Dr. Grant just was like, "Go over there, see if they can use you." And I tooled around with them for 2 days. Tim Brown, who I know doesn't still work here, but he was the first boss that made me cry. And then Dr. Tanner told me that if you're going to be a girl in this business, you got to have thick skin. And that is so true. And then Rick Peterson, who I don't know if you remember, but this was what I was worried that you had found. In senior semester, I convinced you that I was not ever going to be an anchor. It was not what I wanted to do. And you told me that I could have an extra day as a reporter if I signed a contract with you, that I was never going to be an anchor. And literally, 3 months into my first job, my boss was like, I'll pay you an extra $10,000 if you'll wake up and do the morning show. And I was like, I make $16,500. I'll take that $10,000. The network of friends that I have made because I went here to USC. My first TV job in West Virginia I got because a girl who I knew from class here, Addie Bradshaw, she was the one who was like, come up, meet my news director. He'll need someone to fill a reporter job eventually because nobody stays here very long. So he gave me a job. Addie didn't actually want the morning anchor job because she was already doing weekends, so that's how I ended up with it. Kenneth Moten, I met his news director at a conference, and because he loved Kenneth, and Kenneth said nice things about me, I ended up with a job in Philly, which put me in the ABC family, and then I got sucked up to network because 4 women got pregnant at the same time. It's a true story. It really is how it happened. They needed a female, they needed a girl who would go on the field. And then Sarah Messer and I, we have some really hysterical memories at WIS together and here at USC. We used to talk on Sundays. We had this thing called group therapy where we would complain about how miserable our lives were going to school and working at WIS. And we talked about how one day we were going to work at the network together, and she would be my producer and I would be her correspondent. Sure enough, the picture was on Sarah's slide. It was our first story we ever actually got to do together. So cool. I can't thank you guys enough. I look at where I've been able to get because of the people in this room, because of the friends I made here, the people who picked up the phone and called you when they knew you were literally at your end and said, you're going to keep doing this. This business is not always about who's the best. It's about who can out-survive the other people at the time. And having that team of support, that team of encouragement, we talk to each other all the time. I talk to Kenneth probably once a week, twice a week. He comments on my live shots. I talk to Sarah all the time. She tells me when someone tells me my hair looks bad in the control room because I can't hear that. And while I might not think my hair looking good is important on a death and destruction story, they do. We have each other's backs, and to have that network that you guys built through this program is so invaluable. And so I thank you for that.